How you doing today, guys? So, I just want to make sure that, yes, it is still going. Okay. So, this turns out that this is the second time that I am filming this. Not because I had any issues with my microphone this time, but because apparently OBS stopped recording after the first 5 seconds. So, I'm going to give you a real quick walkthrough through my maze complex, which you might have seen on my Reddit feed if you follow r/Minecraft builds. Also, guys, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, just know that this is day 57 of my daily quarantine vlog. So, while my computer acts super slow and doesn't want to respond, let me talk about, what exactly my maze complex is, because that sounds super edgy. That sounds like some soft bullshit. Pretty much, I essentially have 5 mazes here, and each one of them has a different theme. I also have a super secret base, which, if you give me 1 second, there we go. I also have a super secret base, which I'm going to show you at the end, just so that you can kind of get a sense of my sort of building style. So, what is this maze I'm in, basically? This is my Cactus Maze. It's the first maze that you basically can find in... Wow, my mouse is all over. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, sorry. Pretty much, this is my first maze. It is pretty simple, actually. What we do is that we have as many cactuses as you can fit into, whatever square you want. And then you have these pillars in between them. And so what's really interesting about it is that pretty much the more pillars you add, the more complex you can make your maze. But you can also make it fairly simple and only really need pillars, at very specific junctions to prevent them. So here I have this wall of pillars right here, but most of the other, parts of my maze are fairly blank. One of the parts I really like about this style of maze is that there is just so many different pathways you can take. Every 2 blocks gives you 4 more options, which is kind of like a Hall of Mirrors type situation, where every option seems identical, but there's really only one true pathway. So moving on, we go into what I call the hub, which is not too impressive from this view, but I'm going to hopefully go into flying mode so that I can actually show you what it looks like completely. As you can see here, we have 3 short walls. Each one of them has its own color scheme, and by going between these various rings, you can get to each of the 4 arms of the maze. So I will complete the actual maze to show you the center, but for the most part, I'm going to be flying through them as a way of just saving time. So this is my Waterway Maze. The main building components are brick, mossy stone, and I believe jungle wood. And I do apologize just for the terrible... There we go. And I went the wrong way. Sorry guys, my computer is being a bit slow at the moment, so I'm going to just be absolute shit at walking today. Like me every day. So the reason why I came this way is because this is the only one of my mazes that actually has a puzzle component. And that is, there is an iron door on this pagoda, and you have to, press this lever to open it. So even if you find the correct pathway, it, rewards you for exploring every possible thing, because then you have this option to actually go inside it. You may also notice that I have a few other structures throughout the maze, the sort of ruin style stone, and I had so much fun making these. We have this one that's an actual building, then we have a few wall-like ones, and we actually have... I'm trying to think what I was going to say. Oh, just fell over again, and... Come on, people. There we go. Now that I'm not going to drown, because apparently my computer doesn't want to work today, we can actually enjoy going through this maze, which I keep forgetting the directions to, and I keep falling off the frickin' thing. So, come on. Okay. Sorry about that. My computer is not being the most cooperative in this endeavor. I also should mention that I do own a trackpad, so instead of an actual mouse, So that's why turning can be a bit difficult. So as you can see, we do have a few fun little structures here, but this is the pagoda. It's made of brick, glass, and then some jungle wood up here. We have a fire pit, and down below is actually an entrance to a cave system, which I'm not going to be exploring. One thing I love about buildings is having an open roof so that you can have these very enjoyable sort of aerial views of it. And let's move on to the last two mazes. So I'm going to jump over to our hedge maze this time, just because I like to be able to go from the outside to the inside of the purple maze. So it looks like I am missing a few doors. I must have accidentally smashed them, and I'll have to replace that sometime after we're done. So you might be wondering, Ryan, how can you get through this maze so quickly? And the answer to that is, look at the floor here. As you can see, this is, oh lord, I just got dizzy again, coarse dirt, and it's like, a bit bright, and I'm going the wrong way. Wow, you think I wouldn't be able to get mixed up in my own maze, but apparently so. So this coarse dirt is very bright, it's very it has this color to it. But then you start noticing that we have these dirt blocks instead for other portions, and that's because dirt is the wrong pathways, they're the dead ends. But the coarse dirt is the proper pathway that gets you through the maze. It's the route. And so if, you pay attention to where you're stepping, you can get through the maze pretty easily. You also notice that this hedge maze is decorated with, a variety of different, items. And that was intentional. I wanted to make a fun maze where even the dead ends had some bit of character. Next on, we move to our purple maze, and the idea of this one is identical rooms, right? You reach in, and every room has possibility of having 4 doorways, but some only have 2. Or some only have 1. You'll also notice, and I'm just going to show you this before clarity, is that some rooms have a white floor tile, while other ones have the purple. And the reason for that is that purple rooms are the correct pathways. They're another visual indicator that shows you the route. And I like having those in some mazes just because they're very fun to have. I think they can make a maze a lot easier if you're observant, and I think we should reward players for that sort of, observation. And so, if you're smart about it, you're outside again, and ready to have a fun and fancy-free time. I should also mention that all the mazes are completely reversible. You can literally start in one maze and come out any end, all except for the water maze, of course. The one with the walkways, because that is kind of its own little treat. So, I just wanted to walk down that pathway, just to give you a little bit of teaser for the next time, and let's actually go look at the hub. So one thing I really enjoy about this complex is that they're all connected, all the mazes are, and so you can pretty much have a different pathway in and out of the building, at least for the most part, every time that you, go through the maze. And so I think there's a lot of replay potential in it. So, as you see, we got to the center of the maze, and what do we have here? Oh, besides me falling off of the water elevator. Oh, I am having the worst time. Give me a fat second to actually get here, and then we will be... There we go. So, I love water elevators. I think they're probably one of the funnest things you can have. And we actually get to explore my secret base, which, as you can see, is right above the maze here. The whole floor is glass, which I thought was a fun touch. We got our sort of bedroom area, which is decorated. I didn't really have much of an idea for it, if we're being honest. And then we come to a full corner aquarium, which I thought was a bit fun to have. Next up, we have a just cooking area. You got your cake, you got a campfire, and you have some smokers up here, and a full-fledged garden with all the crops you can need, some wheat here, and then a workshop with all your necessary equipment. In here, as you can see, we have, I guess, just a sort of mini library. You have an enchanting table, a cartography table, and a brewing stand. And so that's pretty much all of, like, you know, just the stuff you need for a standard base. And I didn't want to make it too fancy because I had a few other places which had their own, like, you know, I have a few other, like, base areas in this world. And so I wanted to make something that was simple, that had everything you could possibly need, but not be, like, you know, the fanciest thing ever, because it was kind of just like a secret little base. So there we go. That was a very small tour of my maze complex. Obviously, I'd have loved to give you a more in-depth tour, explore the whole thing, but this was the second time filming it, and I wanted it to be a bit shorter. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, like, you know, looking at some of my creative efforts, and let me know what you think down below in the comments and all of that. Alright guys, I'm gonna head out. This is FalseBulls123 signing off. And hopefully